Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Find me at June Helen. Please watch till the end, subscribe and like and comment where possible, please. Okay guys, so today I want to talk about depression, and I'll read for you my poem about depression that I just wrote. I'm one of the victims of depression, and I want to tell anyone out here who is going through depression, you can overcome. And please, anyone who is depressed, don't keep it to yourself. Share with others. The more you share, the more you get relieved. Like me, I had to share my story with not so many people, but at least to the ones I shared with. They encouraged me. They gave me hope. They told me I can do this, I can conquer this, and I was so much encouraged, and honestly I conquered it. And with God, I believe anyone going through depression out here, you can overcome. And you know, depression comes with so many things like stress, overthinking, insomnia, so many things that you can't really be able to explain. And sometimes this depression thing, you don't really know if you are depressed. At times you're confused, you feel like you are mentally challenged. Like in my case, I think I was confused. I think I reached a point that I don't really know myself. I don't really know, is this really June? I was even asking myself, huyu ni mimi kweli? And they also reached a point where I don't want to talk to anyone. I became an introvert. I don't want to associate to anyone. I want to be all by myself. I want to be left alone. I want to be lonely, because my mind was going through a lot. And being an extrovert, being social, at times I felt like it's not helping me at all. But you know, I realized at times there are people are going through different types of depression. So you might find that your depression, when you're going through a certain type of depression, you feel like you want to be an introvert, and when you are going through a certain type of depression, you feel like you want to be an extrovert. So mine was somehow both. There were times I wanted to be left alone completely. There were times I wanted to be with a lot of people, talking, laughing, you know, all that. But eventually I realized sometimes when we just look for someone to talk to, like maybe a psychologist, a counselor, they help. They tend to help. Like in my case, I spoke to my mom, and I went to a psychologist, those who tend to advise people on what to do. I went, and she told me, she was actually a lady, and she told me, you can do this, please, you can exercise, you can read more books. And the more I read more books, the more I read more novels, the more I read magazines, articles, it made me more relieved. In fact, every time I came across any article, maybe something like a magazine, an exciting topic, an exciting heading about things like mental health, things like depression, I would just grab it, read. And you know, most of these stories I used to get there were times I used to get stories which were worse than mine, and I'm like, eish, people are really going through a lot. Sasa hata mimi najiuliza, hii yangu hata it's nothing, because people are going through so many difficult situations that if it were me, if I were in their shoe, I could have committed suicide, because it's too much to handle. Now, when I look at my problem and the problem that I just read, I realized that mine is just a drop in the ocean. Yani zao ni too much. So when yani this behavior of reading novels, reading articles, yani zilikuwa zinani encourage, pia zilikuwa zinanionyesha like huku nje watu wanapitia shida nyingi sana, and so many problems that are even more concentrated than our problems that we think ndio ziko kubwa kuliko za wengine. But ukiangalia huku nje za wengine, uta realize yako hata it's not worth to commit suicide, yako is not worth kujitenga na wengine, you know. And so with depression comes a lot of things. With depression comes a lot of thinking. Sometimes you think of committing suicide. And you feel like the world is no longer accommodative to you. You feel like yani ni kama mimi, I don't have any reason to live. Inafika mali you ask yourself, sasa if I don't have any reason to live, why should I live? Now that thinking itself inakupeleka to have those suicidal thoughts. And you know so many people out here have committed suicide, not because they wanted to, but because maybe they lacked advice from people that you can do this. They felt like it's the end of the world, they can no longer do it. We've seen in magazines, we've seen in televisions, for example, a husband killing his wife, killing the children, and committing suicide. What do you think they were going through? Depression. Yeah, we've also seen stories vice versa of the same women killing their husbands and children, or women killing mothers killing their children and killing themselves just because they are depressed. And these people, in most cases, they never spoke to other people about what they were going through. They were going through depression, but nobody knew. So that's where you see people, maybe for example in the media, will say Aki na vile alikuwa amenyamaza, hakuwa na maneno mingi, hakuwa anaonekana kona shida, alikuwa amenyamaza. You know, depression haijionyeshi kwa uso in many people. Unapata someone is just good akitoka pale nje, but akiingia kwa nyumba yeye anajua shida zinampiga, anajua what they are going through. And so all these cases we usually see people wamefanya hizi vitu, committing suicide, people killing other people. This is because these people have been undergoing depression, and they've never sought any type of help, and nobody maybe has ever encouraged them. And another thing is that they feel like when they go to other people to seek for help, the same people tend to judge them. Ama unapata wanachukulia like mzaha. Sasa, especially men. I came to realize when men are depressed, they barely speak. And this is because men tend to hide their problems inside. So, because sometimes they feel when I go outside there and tell maybe my fellow man or other people, they'll be telling you, man up, wewe ni mwanaume. Now that notion that wewe ni mwanaume makes them not to share their problems much. You see, that's why men unashindwa, huyu kijana alijinyonga, si hata alikuwa tu sawa, hakuwa alikuwa tu anaongea na watu vizuri, like alikuwa amenyamaza, hakuwa mtu anapenda maneno, alikuwa tu akisalimia watu vizuri, and you're like, now why did he commit suicide? Those people wanaogopa kuwa judged. Men really fear being judged. Unapata maybe ameenda kusema I have a certain problem to a fellow man or to another man, and that particular person atawaambia, Aish, wewe ni mwanaume, unaweza fanya kama mwanaume, usikue stressed kama mwanamke. Now hiyo hata inamdiscourage, because that's judging. Now ukimjudge, it feels like it doesn't feel good to them. Instead of deducting some of the problems from them, you are adding more stress and pressure to them, like when mwanaume fanya hivi, you can do that. And so please, you can overcome depression. Speak to someone, read more books and novels. We can do this. So guys, this is my poem that I just wrote when I was depressed, and I know it can inspire someone out there. Please listen. Depression is a state of mind, an unexplainable feeling of dissection, a feeling of severe despondency, living in a fantasy to bury the reality, a deep feeling of making oneself a misery. I'm that ever smiling lady, showing the world that I am all fine, lighting the world with my ever happy face, but deep inside, burning and screaming in silent anguish, having this deep feeling of suicide and self-hurt, hiding in poetry to find solace and comfort, to escape the mental disabilities that come with depression, that painful feeling of being trapped and reluctant to move, that feeling of having deepest urge to die, Depression is like a consistent pill that kills slowly, yet so fast. Depression is worse than death. The worst feeling that I'd wish anyone to experience. Not. Depression is more worse than extreme poverty. Depression has killed many silently. Depression is the worst stroke, a stroke of mind. Let's speak up. Let's find help. Depression kills silently. Let's fight depression. June the poet.